Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. Week 3 is in the books. We're approaching week 4, so we're going to go over our players of the week and our players of the week, W-E-A-K. We also got some college football talk. That's Nick. I'm Theo. This is the Drafted Up Podcast. You know where to find us: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you watch or listen to your podcast. Like, rate, subscribe, review, share, all that good stuff. Search Drafted Up Podcast. We'll be there. Nicholas, how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing good, man. We're about to enter week 4, and I'm still old school, so I look at the NFL season as 16 weeks, so we're about a quarter of the way through, or 4, 8, 12, 16 is how I look at the NFL season, even though it's not that way anymore, but
it's crazy fantasy, to think we're
though.
Pretty much
fantasy, yeah, kind of. But yeah, we're about a quarter of the way through almost, and it's insane to think about. But man, week 3 was not nearly as fun as week 2. Week 2 was a lot of fun. Week 3 was devastatingly filled with injuries and heartbreak and watching the Giants and Sunday night and complete misery. So yeah, week 3 kind of fucking sucked. I'm not gonna lie.
We will not include them in the players of the week, but the Minnesota Vikings defense superstars on Sunday.
Play of the week.
Yeah, for sure. Because I doubt anyone played Trey Tucker. Ooh.
Yeah. Deep dynasty leagues he's being played in. I started him in a 32-team league, so I lucked out there. Hell yeah, I vibing that day. That was the one bright side for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the Vikings were the highest scoring overall player in fantasy this week, counting quarterbacks and all positions. In our home league, they got 51 points, something like that. So,
yeah, every league's different with defensive scoring.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just going off of our main league.
Merck, our buddy, was texting me, and he said one of the guys he was talking to, they changed their defensive scoring. The Vikings defense got 110 points.
Oh my God. I would never play fantasy again if I was playing a guy who had a defense that broke triple digits. I don't even know how that's possible.
On Fantasy Pros, using standard defensive scoring, the Vikings were the 3rd highest scoring position or team or player on the week, behind Jonathan Taylor and Trey Tucker.
2 great plays this week for sure.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Let's talk about the news, and then we'll do the college stuff, and then we'll go on to the players of the week / week.
Sounds good.
You brought up the injuries, and there were a ton. James Conner, Cardinals running back, he had to get foot surgery, out for the year, and the days of James Conner as a bell cow are probably finished.
Done.
As the Cardinals will move on to Trey Benson. So if Trey Benson happens to be out on your waiver wire, throw a ton of fab at him. He is the RB1 there.
Mm-hmm.
He's had some juice this year. He's looked really good in the time he's been out there. And if you have Trey Benson already, congratulations. You have a lock start, probably low-end RB2 going forward.
Yeah, he's looked good with the limited touches they've already given him this season. I really liked Benson coming out of Florida State, so I think he's going to slide into that RB1 situation very nicely in Arizona. I don't think he's going to be an RB1 on the season, but I do think, like you said, he's going to make a low-end RB2.
Yeah, Benson, he was what, our RB1 that class.
2 years ago he was our RB1.
Yeah, because everybody had Quorum over him, or a lot of people. But we were locked in on Benson, so a huge opportunity there for him. Najee Harris, his Achilles is done. So is his season. So big boom for Amari Hampton, who looked the best he has in his rookie year. It's a rough start to go, but week 3 he looked good. He had some juice. It looked like everything was clicking for him. So going forward, Amari Hampton, a boost to his stock, probably going to float around that low-end RB1, high-end RB2 range here going forward for a really good football team in the Chargers.
Yeah, it sucks because Najee looked like Najee. Najee looked really good the last game particularly, and then this week he ended up getting hurt, but it was ramping up for that to be a complete 50-50 split in the backfield, and Najee take a bunch of work, but Hampton looked good after Najee went down, so hopefully Hampton is able to just keep rolling with that and step up and be the RB we all thought he was coming out. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I saw a thing, and it's Najee, who's been healthy his whole career, goes to the Chargers, and in the span of a few months nearly loses an eye and then blows out his Achilles as the curse of the Chargers, who have always just had a string of bad luck kind of continues there. Speaking of bad luck, the San Francisco 49ers, Nick Bosa out for the year, torn ACL, as Christian McCaffrey continues to suck the life force out of every player on this team just so he can stay healthy.
He's doing it to my fantasy team too. As a guy who backed this man all offseason, he's taken out 3 of my quarterbacks. He's taken out Mike Evans. He's taken out Xavier Worthy. My team, I need 6, 7 IR spots in a redraft league just because of the people McCaffrey sucking the life force out of, dude. He's got to stop. But McCaffrey, though, is insane, dude. Oh, man, I can't wait to dive into that stuff. His statistics this year are insane.
Yeah, tough loss for the Niners as their woes continue.
They're in a weird spot, too.
Mac Jones is also hurt.
Yeah, Mac Jones is hurt. Purdy's practicing, but he practiced last week, so it's not really news per se. But they're 3-0. They have the easiest schedule in football, but their whole team's dead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so intrigued with what's going to happen with the Niners the rest of the year.
Juwan Jennings, who we expected to play last week against the Cardinals, ended up not playing. So, the Niners, every year this seems to happen to them. There's always some sort of injury bug floating around there. They really got to hire in some new, conditioning coaches
medical
or something.
Staff,
I don't know what's going on there. You brought up Mike Evans. He's looking like he's out for the hamstring injury. We're probably looking 2 to 4 weeks for him. This is the 7th straight year that Mike Evans is dealing with a hamstring injury. It's almost as impressive as his 1,000-yard streak for his whole career.
The whole thing's impressive that he can just consistently get hurt with these hamstring injuries and still hit 1,000 yards every year because he misses time.
Mm-hmm.
But there was early talks of him landing on the IR. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. I don't think it's going to happen, but he's going to miss time.
Yeah, and big ups for Igbuka there going forward for him, who's looked incredible for Tampa Bay and Baker. And Chris Godwin should be back here in the next week or two, so that should kind of fill the gap in without Mike Evans there.
I think Sterling Shepard should be a guy that's looked at in deeper leagues because he's going to be their number 2 for at least 2 weeks. So even if Godwin comes back week 5, he's still not going to be full go, where I think Shepard's going to see more targets week 5. So I think week 4, week 5, he's a reliable guy in fantasy.
Yeah, I would also monitor like Kate Otten too if you need to stream someone at tight end. This is where he thrives, is when all these guys get hurt.
I agree, but he was on the field for over 66 snaps, and he's seen 0 targets, and that's with Mike Evans hurt. So I'm just kind of out on Kate Otten at this point. I was wrong. I mentioned that if one of those guys go down and they only have one receiver, Kate Otten steps up, but it did not happen last week.
It might be a little different with them getting to game plan without
the
situation
could see that, but
there.
I just think Baker's connection to Sterling Shepard goes back to college, and he just trusts that guy at the end of the day, and he's got to target him when they need a catch, and he's just super reliable. Ex-Giant, I can vouch for that, but I would look Sterling Shepard's way over Kate Otten.
Who else got hurt? Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin's questionable with a quad injury.
It's looking like he's uncertain to play on Sunday. That's the last
it's
report
still
from
questioned.
Schefter.
Yeah, there's no set timeline for McLaurin, so it's just watching his name. And Jaden Daniels is also still listed day to day, so he's not completely healthy either. So a couple Commanders down for the count right now.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, high ankle sprain.
High ankle sprain. He's going to miss time. You're looking at
probably 2 to 4 weeks.
Yep. So in his absence, George Pickens, obviously, but he's not going to be out there on your market. But Kevontae Turpin was heavily involved after Lamb got hurt. He played like almost 75% of the snaps. So he's an intriguing piece. He's a piece they move around. He can kind of play the Lamb role. He can take some handoffs, do stuff out of the backfield. He's kind of a gadget guy. He's got some juice. So I think he's worth a potential just flyer claim. Stash him for 1 week, and if he goes off, cool, you have a guy. If not, you can move on from him if you need to pick up, as we got bye weeks rolling around here soon.
Yeah, week 5 bye week start. So Jake Ferguson really stepped up nice. He ate a ton of targets. The Cowboys lost another O lineman, so that's 2 out of the 5 now already down on the not already strong offensive line. So I think that's going to hurt Dak. I think it's going to hurt Javante, and then CD Lamb not being out there is going to hurt both of those guys as well. I'm really worried about the Cowboys offense for the next 2 to 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it showed on Sunday. They struggled to really get things going against the Bears there.
Yeah.
Tyrone
Tyrone
Tracy.
Tracy also got hurt.
Yep. He dislocated shoulder. He is probably out for a little while. You
Two,
can
2 to 4 from what I see.
give the boost to Cam Scatteroo,
Cam Scatterboom,
who was easily the best player on the field for the Giants on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. Andrew Thomas came back, our tackle, and he looked really good. He was on a snap count, but this is going to be a crazy snap. Both of our tackles did not allow a pressure all game, and that just shows you how bad Russell Wilson shit the bed. Completely shit the bed, especially on the fourth quarter. Insanely bad. News though, Jackson Dart is officially named starter for the New York Giants, so that's news. It does come with excitement. It's the young, fresh, new thing. It's the shiny new toy. It's the first round quarterback. I just hope he's ready, man. It's the NFL is a different ball game.
I can't imagine it will be much worse than Russell Wilson. So, and even if it's as bad as Russ, there's the built-in excuse of he is the rookie, where Russell Wilson has been in the league for 100 years. And 2 of the 3 games this year has looked like one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever watched play football.
Yeah. No, for sure. And those 2 games, man, just really sucked the life force out of just like the fan base and everything. And I'm a Giants fan, and I am hoping to God Brian Daboll was there next year. And I get that sounds crazy. Oh, he doesn't have a good winning rate. I get it. He took this team of nobodies to the playoffs, led by Danny Jones, his rookie year, not his rookie year, but Brian Daboll's rookie year, his first year as a head coach. We won a playoff game. We beat the Vikings. And I honestly, I think that was the worst thing to possibly happen for this guy, though. It just showed that, yeah, he's a great coach, but the team wasn't ready for that. We needed another year to build. Then we signed Danny Jones to this crazy contract, which then hurt us even longer. It's going to be a rough load. I just hope Daboll's there next season for Jackson Dart. I think he really needs that.
Yeah, other than that, minor injuries, Colson Loveland hip injury, but you're probably not rostering him, which is a shame because he actually was involved really early on before that injury. I was going to
say, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because this is the first week he was actually doing stuff. So, same with Luther Burton. He was out there a lot, which was nice to see. Hopefully, Loveland can come back strong and pick up where he left off week 3.
Yep.
Demarcus Robinson and Jordan Addison, their suspensions are both lifted.
Coming back. Yep, so I was getting there. I was kind of finishing out the injury bug.
Yeah, no, you're good. The Niners severely need Robinson out there. He's a fast, quick, twitchy receiver. I think he's worth a stash at this point, and obviously Jordan Addison is one of the better number 2 receivers in football, so that's huge for your offense.
Yeah, because who knows with the health of Juwan Jennings and how often he's going to be out there. I mean, he's been questionable every week, and all offseason he dealt with an injury, even though week 2 he looked really good. Week 3 wasn't out there. And Ricky Pearsall, who's looked great, so that's good for them. And then Brandon Ayuk should be back at some point, so the Niners receiving crew could be at some point maybe fully healthy this year with the looming George Kittle return as well, but something will happen. Demarcus Robinson will get out there, and Christian McCaffrey will hurt Ricky Pearsall, and then they're just down to Demarcus Robinson and Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, good God, dude. That offense is in shambles, and now their defense. So we'll see if they can keep pulling together these wins, man. They're playing decent football with what they got.
Yeah. But Brock Purdy should be back this week, hopefully, for them. At least that'll...
I think he will be.
Yeah. Okay. That's it for news. All right, let's get into some college talk. We're going to do our usual. We're going to do our prospect spotlight series, but we're going to debut something new called we're going to give out some game balls, just That'll be brief. We'll just bring up a name or two or a team who we're giving a game ball to based off a strong performance on Saturday. Dare you say they were a force to be reckoned with? And this segment is brought to you by Finley Hats, who are a force in the hat making industry. In the link in the description, there will be a link. You can click that. You'll get 15% off your first purchase over at Finley Hats. They have mystery hats. They have mystery boxes that has a ton of stuff. You can get shirts, hats, obviously. They have joggers, they have jerseys, a ton of stuff there. They do weekly drops with cool designs that they announce the day before. They got the little pockets on the inside where you can stash some money and stuff, the cool Stampede laces, the customizable pins. Everything's interchangeable, so check them out. Join the Finley Force. They're lifetime warranty, so if your hat is damaged or destroyed, they'll replace it or repair it absolutely free. Like I said, in the description, there's a link. You'll get a 15% off your first purchase. So join the force over at Finley Hats, and let's talk about these guys who might make a force in the NFL maybe one day. But right now, they're doing work on the college field. We'll start with our prospect spotlight series. Nick, who you got today? Last week you had Auburn, nope, Missouri running back Ahmad Hardy. Who you bringing to the table today for your prospect spotlight?
I'm bringing another running back to the table, and it's one that's actually going to come out this year. He's probably going to be the best running back in the draft. It's Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame's running back. He is actually like stepping up. Week 1 was rough versus Miami, and that's going to happen. Obviously, it is what it is. Week 2 was a nice little step back. He had 23 carries, almost 100 yards on the ground, and a tutty. But last week versus Purdue, he came full force. 20 carries, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. He made an impact this week, and I think it's going to keep going forward. He's most people's RB1 in the draft class right now. Obviously, it's early. It's only September going into October. But there's a legitimate chance if he just keeps going, he's going to be the RB1 in this class. He's not huge. He's like 6 foot 208, so he's a little bit undersized. I like my guys 6 foot 215, but he's got decent size. He's got a really good frame, and he runs really hard for his size. Like his lower body half power is insane. He's got amazing contact balance. I love it. Anyone who followed us throughout the prospect series and stuff last season, we talked about how a lot of the running backs in the draft class really don't make plays in the open field. They don't really create fancy stuff. They're not flashy. They just take what was ever given to them. Jeremiah Love in the open field is insane, dude. He's so quick. He's so flashy. He can hit an open hole and then take any run to the house. His explosiveness is unmatched right now in college. He's among the top guys in explosive runs and then yards after contact because of his power. He's everything I look for in a running back. He's also got really good hands. He's got 9 targets, I think, in 3 games. He's brought in all of them. Last week he didn't have any catches, but the week before that he's brought in every single one. I'm a big Jeremiah Love guy. I'm not crazy about Notre Dame, but he is a kid I happily will hype up as I'm talking about him here on the prospect series. I think he's going to be damn well near a first-round pick come draft season, if not a second-round pick. He's a running back I love to watch. He's fun. He's explosive. He's got good power, and he just knows the game of football so well. So Jeremiah Love, running back, Notre Dame. Keep an eye out for that kid's name.
Yeah. If I had to say right now, I would say he's a top 20 prospect coming into 2026.
It's a good ballpark.
You brought up the Miami game where he struggled, but like the first series of that game, he looked great, and then like Notre Dame just stopped giving them the ball, and like that first series was the best they looked, and then shockingly their next best series was second half, and it was when they got Jeremiah Love back involved. Like he's the focal point of this offense. Like Notre Dame will go as far as Jeremiah Love will take them, and like their utilization of him is really weird, and I think that's kind of what's holding them back as well as their defense. But in the NFL, he should be in the 2026 class. We're looking at a guy who should be top 20. Maybe Dallas takes him. Maybe he's the replacement for Javonte. I like that fit, or Chicago. Get them a true workhorse back there. So yeah, I really like Jeremiah Love. That's a good shout out there. A guy we're definitely going to be talking a ton about. I'm taking a page out of your book. I'm going with a sophomore. He's not draft eligible, but I think this is a guy we have to talk about at wide receiver. We know the Jeremiah Love. in 2027, and Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State's
Mm-hmm.
phenom wide receiver. He could have came out last year. If he would have been a top 5 pick. Like, that's how good that guy is. Like,
Yeah.
he is an absolute phenom, and we're going to be talking about him for years. He's going to be the best player in the 2027 draft. I don't care if Arch Manning or anybody else is in it. It's Jeremiah Smith and everybody else. And then there's Ryan Williams, the other freshman last year phenom out of Alabama. He's got some juice, really fun to watch. Not as good of a prospect as Jeremiah Smith, but we're probably looking at a top 15 guy in 2027 as well. But there's another receiver who's not getting the buzz that those two guys are getting. He's down in Auburn. And this is Cam Coleman, the sophomore wide receiver. He's 6'3", weight 195, 200 pounds, real big frame. He was a 5-star player, consensus across the board. Like, all the national college rankings had this dude as a 5-star guy, and he went to Auburn. He could have went anywhere, but he stayed at home. He went to Auburn. Long arms, good catch radius. Like, this guy catches everything that their quarterbacks put in front of him, and he's got a decent quarterback there this year in Jackson Arnold. Last year it was a little up and down with his quarterback play. Arnold wasn't there. He was in Oklahoma, but as a freshman, 37 for 598, 8 touchdowns. So we got a touchdown guy. And already this year, through 4 games, we're looking at 237 on 13 grabs and 2 touchdowns. So he's improving his yards per catch. He's developing. Like, he's a jump. His touchdown this past week was incredible. Like, it gave me like T. Higgins, Drake London vibes, where he just went up and got the ball. And I hold this guy in the same regard, just off the tape I've watched for this season in these 4 games and the little bit I caught as a freshman. I think he is a better prospect than Ryan Williams. I do. I think he is a top 10 guy. Like, I think all 3 of these dudes are top 15 guys, but I think it's time that we kind of talk about Cam Coleman in the same boat as Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams as these phenom potential wide receivers who could be absolute game changers at the next level. And we're looking in 2027. These 3 guys, it could rival the Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze ordeal, where we just had 3 really great wide receiver prospects coming out. And I think Cam Coleman, as he develops in Auburn, they're getting better, and it's still a big time school there in the SEC. This guy's a true big body wide receiver. His catch, he does contested catches. He runs decent routes, good catch radius. Like I said, size 6'3", 200 pounds. He's only going to get bigger. He's, not even 20 years old. And as he develops and he continues to develop his route running and his separation skills, I think we're looking at a guy who is a top 10 potential player. And I think in 2027, it's going to be a deep draft class potentially with Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers names. Like, they could be there with, Jeremiah Smith as well as Ryan Williams. But I think Cam Coleman should be included in that talk, being one of the top SEC wide receivers. And as he continues to grow this year, I'm interested to see where he kind of stands going forward as such a young prospect. But I'd like to see him develop a little more yards after the catch, but I'm not necessarily worried about it. Because he's got good size. It's not really his shtick to need to do. So I am looking forward to seeing how he develops, but he gives you big play potential, contested catch stuff, really good athlete, really explosive. He's got all the physical traits and frames that you look for in a pro wide receiver. And he's so young that, like, I am jazzed to see where he goes from here.
Yeah, I can dig it. I got to watch a little bit more of him, but that receiver class is going to be stacked in 2 years. I'm thrilled to be able to cover it on the pod.
Yeah, me too. Like last year's class wasn't as good as the first class we did.
Mm-hmm.
And now this year's class is kind of looking more like it's going to be like the 2025 class, but then the 2027 class could rival the 2024 class. So it'll be interesting to see where they develop going from there. All right, game balls. I got 2. I don't know how many you have.
I just got 1.
Okay, I'll start. First one.
Yeah, you start, then I'll go, then you end.
Yeah, Syracuse quarterback Steve Angeli, Notre Dame transfer, but Syracuse went out and they beat Clemson 34-21. And Angeli, he's like one of the top passers in the nation. He's got 1,300 yards in the year, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And he came out and got hurt really bad, like could barely walk and get up on like the first series. And he came back in, went 18 for 31, 245, 2. and then he blew his Achilles. But he led them to this win. He's now out for the year, which is unfortunate because he's given some juice to this Syracuse lineup, who we saw Syracuse last year kind of perform well offensively with Kyle McCord, and Angeli kind of came in here and he's been running the offense really well. So, but I gotta give him the shout out. He beat Clemson, like dominant. Like he looked great against them, and Clemson has just underperformed. I get it this year, but they got a bunch of pro prospects on this team, and Syracuse hung and they beat them 34-21 on the back of Steve Angeli, who went out there, did it banged up, ended up ultimately tearing his Achilles later on in the game, but 245-2 on a team that has, Peter Woods and TJ Parker, two top 10, 15, projected players in this year's draft. I got to give the shout out to him and on the Syracuse offense, and hopefully he recovers well, and we're talking about him in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. My first game ball of the podcast history, technically. It's a name that we mentioned really briefly among the podcast quick. It's that Denzel Boston, wide receiver, Washington. He's a lot of people's wide receiver 2 in this upcoming draft class. He's my personal number 1 as of right now. It's still very early, though. But he had his first 100-yard game of the season. Week 1, he had 92 and a touchdown. But this week, versus Washington State, the Washington's rival. Last year, Washington State got the the upset over Washington, and that left an ill taste in Washington's mouth. They came out and dropped like fucking 59 points on Washington State, and they were still throwing the ball with like 2 minutes left. They were legitimately running up the score. And hey, man, sometimes that happens in rival games. But Denzel Boston went out there, put up 6 catches, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a complete rivalry game. So you love to see this kind of prospect step up. Like I said, week 1, he was close to 100 yards. This week, he broke 100 yards. So hopefully he can just keep putting these string of 100-yard games back to back to back. And his name's going to get called pretty early come draft time.
Yeah, I do like Denzel Boston a lot. I can't wait to really dive into his tape. I don't like him as much as Jordan Tyson, the kid from Arizona State. But yeah, Denzel Boston definitely. We should be looking at a first round draft pick. All right, my second one is another quarterback, and it's a guy we talked about a little bit during summer scouting, and it is former Cal quarterback who transferred to Indiana, Fernando Mendoza. Mendoza against Illinois, who was a top 10 team coming in. They were the hype. They were the hotness. And he came out and destroyed them. Indiana beat Illinois 63-10. Indiana last year was in the playoffs. Curtis Work was the quarterback then. They bring in Fernando Mendoza, and they haven't had the hype that they had last year, and then they come out here, Illinois sort of taking that hype. They were hyped up, top 10 team in the Big Ten, and Indiana smoked them 63-10. Fernando Mendoza, 21 for 23, completed 91% of his passes, 267 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's got a little movement. You were a little lower on him in summer scouting than I was. I'm interested to really dive back in to see how Mendoza's done here in Indiana. See if anything's changed compared to his Cal tape. But I think we're looking at a guy who could get his name called in the first round in 2026. We'll see, but this was a good stepping point here. The last 2 games he's completed, last week against a schmuck school, Indiana State, he went 95% of his passes completed. But against a legitimate school in Illinois, 91% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, 260 yards, and an absolute stomping of a conference rival. So shout out Fernando Mendoza. We'll see where he goes from here. I don't like him as much as I do John Mateer, who got hurt. He had wrist surgery today, so he's going to be out for a little bit, which is a shame for Oklahoma. But Mendoza and Indiana, they're going to be an interesting to watch here in the Big Ten, which has a ton of good teams: Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. So we'll see how Mendoza fares here, but a good start to conference play for him for that 21 for 23, 267 and 5 performance. So game ball to Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, you love the shout out, and the John Mateer thing, that sucks for Oklahoma, dude. The hand surgery on the throwing hand out indefinitely for a ranked team almost in the top 10, 4-0, dude. That's a huge hit. He played really well versus
favorite John Mateer.
Yeah, he played really well versus what they played Auburn on Sunday or Saturday.
Yeah.
So he played good. He had a touchdown, I think. couple hundred yards, maybe close to 300. It's a rough loss for sure. So I'll see how Oklahoma bounces back, but it's going to be hard to replace John Mateer that quick.
Yeah. I'm hearing it could only be a month, but their stretch of schedule coming up here, it's 5 straight ranked opponents.
It's conference games too, yeah. So it's going to be rough to bounce back.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But honestly, if I had a Heisman vote, I'd be giving it to Miami's Reuben Bain. I know he doesn't stand a chance, but that dude has been absolutely incredible for that Hurricanes defense.
So good over the weekend, dude, and he gets so low to the ground. Like his flexibility is unmatched, dude. Like I'm going to probably have him as my top prospect in the draft coming up for sure.
He will definitely be my top edge rusher. I don't think it's going to be TJ Parker, but I can't wait to dive into Bain. Maybe he'll be my guy next week.
I think I would take the elite edge rusher over the elite interior tackle.
Well, oh no, I said he'd be over Parker as my edge. I would take him.
I thought you said he wouldn't be over T. Okay, I thought you said he wouldn't be over Parker.
I would take him over Peter Woods, though, Clemson, who was my summer scouting prospect 1.
Oh yeah,
I would put Bain over him. I think Caleb Downs is still my player 1 now, though.
He's probably my 2.
It's early.
Miami's offensive lineman's probably my 3. So I think Miami has like 2 of the top 4. I think.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our players of the week. We're going to be talking about our guys who did well, not the WEAK guys. Or we'll get to them last. Quarterbacks, player of the week: Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Geno Smith, Josh Allen. You're looking at your top 5, and you got 3 elite names, and which is a nice change of pace because Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts were not in that group last week. Week 2 for them was just kind of a ho-hum game. They weren't needed, but they came out here. They got the dubs for their team. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. You always love it when your elite quarterbacks are in this range. Caleb Williams, we picked the wrong quarterback. Well, at least I did. From the Cowboys Bears game, Caleb Williams looked great against a pathetic defense, which is what you like to see. And then Geno Smith, nice little bounce back week from a bad week 2 against the Chargers and a losing effort against the Commanders. But also shout out like Marcus Mariota, who looked great for fantasy. If you're the Jalen Daniels owner, maybe that was your pivot move, was just picking up Marcus Mariota. And it likely worked out for you. He had a rushing touchdown, he had a passing touchdown. He looked really good there for Washington.
Yeah, Mariota looked really, really good. And I heard like a crazy stat that over the last 17 games, he has more top 12 finishes than CJ Stroud, and yet he's only started 1 game, but he has 3 top 12 finishes. So that's a hysterical stat that Mariota's outperforming CJ Stroud. But yeah, he looked really good on Sunday. So shout out him in that win versus the Raiders. The big win. Commanders need it. They're dreaded or filled with injuries right now. So they lost Eckler. Terry McLaurin's up in the air. Dayton Daniels is still up in the air. So that offense took a big hit, but Mariota stepped in well.
Yeah. Any other quarterbacks you want to talk about? Not a lot of big play performances from the quarterback position this week.
I mean,
Jalen Hurts
too. Jalen Hurts is amazing. Like, I get they don't ask this guy to go out and pass, but they were down 26-6, and they needed this. They needed this performance from Jalen Hurts after halftime, and he came out there. A.J. Brown stepped up. Devontae Smith stepped up. Jalen Hurts stepped up. Just start passing the ball more. You don't have to do it all the time like you did in the back end of this game, but develop a healthy blend of pass and run. Don't just rely on Barkley and Jalen Hurts' legs. You have so much talent on this offense. Even Goddard, he had a really nice touchdown. Like, start using it all, man. It's insane, but I'm so glad Jalen Hurts came out here and showed people that he can still pass the ball if he needs to.
Yeah, 4 total touchdowns for Hurts. It was good to see because the Eagles' passing game has been such a big question mark through these first 2 weeks where we didn't know, are Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, worth starting at this point. Like, it's bad if you're questioning A.J. Brown, who was likely a first or second round pick in your league, if like you're either moving on from him or, you're talking about guys like Emeka Egbuka who are like better plays than him when you could have got Egbuka in like the 8th, 9th round. Like it brought some worry to you, but it was good for the Eagles to kind of quiet those critics. We'll see if that continues to go forward, but it was nice for Hurts to go out there and light up and have a great performance. Like I said, 4 total touchdowns, 3 through the air, 1 on the ground, 226 yards as well. there in a big win. Philadelphia, I was shocked they won that game. They had that walk-off blocked field goal, so the Eagles, bounced back.
Insane
They
win.
faced some adversity against the Rams and got a big win there. Big ups to Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense putting it all together there on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't want to say I was worried about my Super Bowl pick being Philly, but the first 2 weeks, like the lack of the passing game, it had me not worried, but a little bit nervous. But like, oh, I don't know if they're going to be able to get the passing game like rolling the way they used to. But this week really took a lot of that worriness off my shoulders. Just a real quick shout out to like all the quarterbacks that stepped up for teams that like needed guys to play. Like Mac Jones performed well, Tua performed decently, Daniel Jones was good, Matt Stafford was good, Carson Wentz was good, Sam Darnold was good, Mariota was good. So like all of these quarterbacks that people needed to like step up and perform decently, they all had a relatively good fantasy outcome. None of them really dropped the ball per se.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's kind of why we just saw kind of just like an average day for fantasy quarterbacks this past week. But those guys did step up; they did their part. Going forward, we'll see if Mariota continues to play. If they kind of rest Daniels maybe for another week after Mariota had a strong performance. We know McCarthy's probably not going to be out there for another 2 or 3 weeks for Minnesota, so we're going to see Carson Wentz some more, and he gets some help, like you said, Jordan Addison coming back for the Vikings. So we'll see where those guys go, but those could be guys with bye weeks coming up in week 5 that maybe we start talking about some streaming options.
Yeah, for sure.
Even Tyrod Taylor as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't name Taylor, but
yeah, he had a nice little game for the Jets.
Every single one of those quarterbacks outperformed guys like Kyler, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, both of our starts of the week, Patrick Mahomes, C.J. Stroud, Jared Goff. So they went out and outperformed a lot of big name quarterbacks this week. So you love to see that.
Yep. Yeah, I also love that Aaron Glenn on that the touchdown, the defensive touchdown, running down the sideline. Yeah, he was getting real into it. It was the block kick. It was the block kick, not the.
It was the block kick.
Yeah.
It is a funny thing, but it looks bad in a losing effort from the Jets now.
Yeah.
Hold off your celebration, brother.
Yeah, it's a shame, but the excitement got to him. First-year head coach.
Oh, yeah, first-year coach. It's going to happen.
Jonathan Taylor, like I said earlier, RB1 this past week. The Detroit guys showing up. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, they were your 2 and 3. Amarian Hampton and Cam Scatabo, rookie running backs rounding out the top 5. Christian McCaffrey hanging out there. And Jordan Mason, my start of the week. And James Cook continues to score touchdowns for the Buffalo Bills. A great performance from him as well. Kyron Williams and Kenneth Walker rounding out the top 10 at the running back position.
Kyron looked so good versus Philly, dude. Like he had a nice out route touchdown in the red zone versus Philly. That's a really good run defense for him to go out there and put up 94 yards on the ground and then 18 through the air with the touchdown. Kyron went out there and showed up. So you love to see it for that offense. It helps Matt Stafford out so much. It helps Puka Nacua, who has 1 billion receptions right now. He's out there killing it. Devontae Adams had a beautiful touchdown. Just when Kyron's flowing, this offense is flowing so much better.
Yeah, it was funny because before the Eagles game, I saw somebody tweet, they're like, Blake Corum has looked better than Kyron Williams this year, and that's just
that is outlandish.
An insane thing to say online in public for everybody to read. But yeah, Kyron Williams gives some nice fallback there for Matt Stafford when that game doesn't get going. Jordan Mason, we can take away the fear. It looks like him as the Vikings running back going forward until Aaron Jones gets back. You're comfortable starting him. Great performance against the Bengals, 2 touchdowns, an absolute machine out there for the Vikings. I also kind of want to shout out your guy, Quinshon Judkins, who was just outside the top 10. Big upset win for the Browns. They beat the Packers, and a lot of that was Quinshon Judkins on the offensive side of the ball. He looked great for them, and if you took the risk on Judkins in your draft, it looks like it's going to pay off for you, as he had an RB1 performance, and I would imagine he kind of teeters around that range going forward, as Dylan Sampson wasn't out there a whole ton. He only had 1 carry.
Yeah.
And the stuff Jerome Ford had wasn't overly effective. So this is the Quinshon Judkins show. And if they're in games, they're going to be able to utilize him. And that was my worry, was that the Browns just weren't going to be in football games. But 94 yards on 18 carries, yeah, over 5 a clip. He had a touchdown, caught his 1 target. So if you took the shot on him, you're going to be really happy with Judkins here going forward if the Browns just hang around in games like they did on Sunday.
Yeah, dude, Judkins was an absolute studkins. Ha.
He's got puns now.
I got the punt. Jerome Ford's their third down back though, so just watch that out. It doesn't worry me at all. But Dylan Sampson's not on the field since Judkins has come back now officially. I probably wouldn't even roster him at this point. I would only roster Judkins out of the Cleveland backfield. It's his show, dude. He's 55% of carries. It's going to go up from here. I think it's going to reach like 60 next week and then maybe even 65 the following. Yeah, he's the guy, dude. This is what I figured would happen with Judkins getting a full camp. It's happened sooner than I thought. I love to see it. I'm a huge Judkins fan. And the Browns defense is too good for them not to be in games. Like they just went out there, they beat the Packers. Yeah, the score with the Ravens wasn't close, but they hung with 3 of the 4 quarters with the Ravens.
Yeah.
And in week 1, they should have beat the Bengals. This is a good team. Like, the Browns aren't a slouch play. Like, if you're playing the Browns, you're going to go out there and you're going to get hit in the face, and it's going to throw you for a loop. So just be weary of the Browns upsetting teams. They took me out in my survivor pool.
Me too.
I picked Green Bay. I seen you and I were the only ones who lost this week, so it's kind of heartbreaking. But yeah, man, that was my fault for doubting the Browns defense and Judkins. So I absolutely love to see what's going on there in Cleveland.
Yeah, helps having a great coach like Kevin Stefanski. We've been on the Kevin Stefanski train. Like I brought up Dallas should trade first round draft picks to get Kevin Stefanski. Like I think he's that good. And speaking of that good, the Lions running back crew, it was nice to see both of them just out there ripping up Baltimore. Baltimore, I don't know. That defense worries me. And Baltimore, Kansas City, one of them is going to be 1-3 after next week. They're playing each other here. Week 4, but Montgomery and Gibbs looked incredible for the Lions, and this team will go as far as them and the defense goes. And Jared Goff will have the spot start games where he has 5 touchdowns, but Detroit's at its best when it's Gibbs and Montgomery just punching you in the face, and then that defense just getting in your face, getting pressure. Like they were on Monday against the Ravens, which was a great game. That game definitely paid off the hype we had around.
It lived up to any hype any of us surrounded it. So, yeah, you just love football is better when the Lions are running the ball like this. Like them to watch a Sunday night or Monday night do this to Baltimore, dude. Like Buffalo ripped up Baltimore week 1. The Browns hung with Baltimore week 2. It wasn't pretty, but 3 of the 4 quarters, like we keep saying, they hung. And then this week, Detroit gave it to them, dude. So I'm not worried if I'm Baltimore, but that team is on par with a lot of other teams. So they're not the far and away runner like a lot of people thought they were in the AFC.
Yeah. They were a heavy Super Bowl favorite. And now, like I said, them and Kansas City playing each other here week 4. One of them's fallen to 1-3, which isn't the start you want to be in. Before we move on to wide receiver, Jonathan Taylor. This is an absolute machine. I'm just eating my words across the board with the Colts. I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in football. I said they were going to win 4 to 5 games. They already got 3. I said Jonathan Taylor wasn't a player who I think could be the RB1, and here we are, week 3, and he is close to, if not the RB1. I don't have a full season in front of me, so if you have that handy, I know it's probably him or James Cook.
He is currently the RB1 in our home league.
Okay, yeah. He absolutely loves playing the Titans, and he ripped them up there. Jonathan
every
Taylor,
time he plays the Titans, dude, he's
superstar.
Yeah, in 200-yard game inbound for Taylor on the horizon. I can already fucking see it coming, dude. He's so good. I don't want to. I've seen this as a possibility for Taylor. I didn't think this was a possibility for the Colts, but at the end of the day, I still thought Taylor could still be an RB1. But hey, man, a shout out to Danny Jones. He hasn't been phenomenal passing the ball. I'm gonna give him credit, but a lot of people are giving him way more credit than he deserves. It's not all him. He only has 1 touchdown passing every game. He hasn't passed for more than one. So it's a lot of him running the ball, which is nice. Danny Jones is a good rushing threat, and that's what he gets.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're still not getting crazy passing numbers. You're not getting 303 touchdowns. You're getting 201, and it's a really clean football game, and that's what he plays with a really good offensive line, a really good run game.
Gives you a good floor from a fantasy perspective.
And he knows how to manage a team, and he's in the right spot, and I hope to God it works out for him because it would be another good story for the NFL. And the Colts just have a good defense, too, and they're a well-coached team. Overall, through and through, the Colts are just a really good team. So shout out the Colts right now. They're doing everything wonderfully.
Yeah. Anyone else in that those running backs you want to chat about?
We touched on Hampton with the Najee injury. He stepped up really nice. Cam Scatterbu looked really, really good, dude. 10 attempts, 60 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 8 targets. He brought in 6 of them for 61 yards. And that's what he did in college, man. Like, he had a lot of good catches with a lot of high-powered runs afterwards that I didn't think would work in the NFL. It worked last week. It looked good. I'll see how it goes forward. But, hey, man, if he's getting all of that volume, you're going to start him. So, other than that, though, I don't think so. A lot of mid running back performances. Nothing crazy, but
you don't want to rave about. You don't want to gush about Christian McCaffrey before we move on.
McCaffrey got the ball on 56% of San Fran's plays, which means he was more than half of their offense. I think he's got like 90-some touches on the year. He's on pace for more touches than he had in 2023. So
that's why he's taking everyone's injuries. He's taking everyone's life away from him.
As long as this man holds up, he's going to be very close to that RB1 spot, which is what I said all offseason. Mm-hmm. We just have to hope to God he doesn't get hurt like the rest of the 49ers have.
Yeah, well, they're not going to because he's the one taking all the life away from them. So,
mind you, he's RB3 in most leagues, and that's only with 1 touchdown. Like, Jonathan Taylor has 4 total touchdowns. Mm-hmm. McCaffrey has 1, and that just shows how much volume he's getting everywhere else. Once this team's healthy and a little bit rolling, he's going to start scoring way more.
Yeah,
then it gets dangerous.
The best thing for McCaffrey is everybody else around here getting healthy, getting Kittle back, getting Jennings up to speed, getting DeMarcus Robinson in there, Ricky Pearsall staying on the tear he's on, and then that'll open. Brock Purdy back especially. That will open up more touchdown opportunities for him when the defense doesn't have to solely focus on Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, for sure.
Wide receivers, Trey Tucker, we brought him up earlier, far and away the best performance as a wide receiver this week. So Trey Tucker, interesting conversation. Is you picking him up? Is it time to pick him up? He was out there for 90% of the snaps for like the 3rd week in a row, but if the Raiders get in these shootouts, he seems to be the guy who gets the touchdowns. He's got 4 touchdowns on the year. 8 catches for 145, 3 touchdowns this past week against Washington. But he is heavily involved. He's out there all the time. Like I said, it's like the 3rd straight week he's played 90% of the snaps. And the Raiders seem to be down a lot, so they're in situations where they got to pass. I definitely think Trey Tucker is worth, if he's out there on your market, pick him up, stash him on your bench. I'm not ready to play him. I think he's too volatile right now, but like as we've brought up, bye weeks are coming, so you're going to need to be finding some ugly plays, and I think Trey Tucker has a ton of upside if you're finding an ugly, gross play.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I wouldn't fab dump for him. I would probably do
receivers are deep.
Exactly. I would probably do like 10% of my fab, whatever I have left.
Yeah.
If Arizona's running back, Trey Benson's out there, I would fab dump for him, though. Running backs are so thin, and at this point, you just need anybody getting volume. Benson's going to get that. I would fab dump for him. But Tucker, last week, he saw 9 targets, brought in 8 of them for 145 and 3 touchdowns. Amazing game. But the week before that, he saw 8 targets. So, like, he's seen targets in back-to-back games. 94% of snaps, he's out there. Back-to-back weeks with a rushing attempt, so they're giving him designed trick plays as well. And then this week, he had a kick return and 2 punt returns as well. So that's just extra bonus points for him to score. Yeah, he's always out there, and he's always touching the ball. And manufactured touches, special teams, deep targets, he's getting everything. Yeah, at this point, you got to roster him. I'm not saying you start him like you said, but go out there, put a little bit of
Mhm.
cash on him, pick him up, hopefully you get him, and then see what you got. At the least, you got a really high upside guy.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have a great floor right now, but he might have a good floor come
Mhm.
week 8, 9, 10. Like that might be where he starts being a really consistent guy. But at the back end of it, the guy, you have a guy that can go out there and catch 8 for 140 and 3. So you
Mhm.
got to roster that.
Yep, and like you said, I agree on not dumping a ton of fab on him because there's guys out there like receivers. There's deep, teams are running 3 wide receivers. They're not running 3 running backs, so you could get a cheaper option like a Torrey Horton, who was a top 15 play this past week. He had 2 touchdowns.
Who
Like,
scored 2? Yeah.
yep, he's probably out there, and he would probably cost you way less because he didn't score 40 points this week like Trey Tucker did. So some people in your league might be blinded by that big performance by Tucker, but Torrey Horton might have more season long value for you, and like Luther Burden as well. Like he's probably a better chance he's rostered than those 2 guys. But if he's out there, he was more involved this past week for the Bears. He might be worth getting, and like those guys might be
Oh,
cheaper
his touchdown,
than Trey Tucker.
absolute.
Yeah,
His touchdown was an absolute gem of a flea flicker, dude. I love a good flea
a
flicker.
beautiful Ben Johnson-esque play.
Exactly. It was so Ben Johnson, and you love to see it, and you love it going to Burden, and even Colston Loveland had a nice couple catches, but like getting these young early draft picks involved, that's what I need to see out of the Bears. Because
Mhm.
without those 2 guys, you essentially have the same offense you had last year, and that doesn't do much for me. But when you add Luther Burden, who I was really high on, you add Colston Loveland, who I loved coming out of college, to this
Mhm.
offense that already had Roma Doomsday, who has made an amazing leap. He is among the best receivers for fantasy right now. DJ
Yeah, you
Moore, who's still really good.
got rid of Shane Waldron.
Oh, dude, huge thing for that team. It's such a relief not having him
Yeah,
around.
R.I.P. Brian Thomas Jr.
And it's showing
Yeah.
hard, dude, for sure. But Rome, oh, good God, so good.
Yeah. Um, Garrett Wilson, he would have been wide receiver 1 if Trey Tucker just didn't blow up. He had a nice game. Cortland Sutton as well. AJ Brown, Puka Nakua, Nico Collins, Amon Ra, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Devonta Smith, Luther Burden. They round out your top 10. It's good to see both Eagles receivers in there. We briefly touched on that with Jalen Hurts, that Smith and AJ Brown came through. If you stuck with these guys in your lineup, it paid off this past week. And then JSN continues to be an absolute beast for Seattle.
Yeah.
You're looking at a guy who's probably propelling himself into first round range in redraft next year. It was also good to see Nico Collins out there for a struggling Houston offense put up a top 10 performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so nice to see Nico's name in the top 5 at this point. He had a little bit of a slower week 1, week 2. Like he was still involved, but this was a great week. 11 targets. He brought in 8 for 100 yards. You love to see it. You brought up both Eagles receivers. AJ Brown looked so good, dude. He looked like he was 7 foot tall out there and a muscle bodybuilder. He's so much stronger than these corners, dude. Like it's insane that you expect one man to just cover this guy. It's not gonna happen. There's no. I get how good Patrick Surtain are and Sauce Gardner, but if you put him 1-on-1 on AJ Brown, I'm putting my money on AJ Brown the majority of the time if I had to bet. I just love the way AJ Brown plays football.
AJ Brown is what the world wished DK Metcalf was.
Yeah, I see that. They're both Ole Miss guys.
Yeah, another name to bring up, like similar to Trey Tucker, like Trey Tucker, he's the hotness right now on the market just because of that performance, is Alec Manor, the rookie from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
He got back in the end zone again for the Titans. It looks like he's got the rapport with Cam Ward, so I wouldn't be going out there dumping all my money on, Trey Tucker when I could probably get Alec Manor and these guys cheaper. So he's another name. If he's out there, I like him stashing on your bench. Like I would take all these guys we talked about over Tyquan Thornton. Like I know Tyquan Thornton's been really involved for Kansas City, but Xavier Worthy's on the verge of coming back, if not back this week. And then we got Rashee Rice's return looming here in 2 or 3 weeks. So Thornton starts kind of falling to where he's now the 3rd option, 4th option, if you're including Travis Kelce. Like he's probably worth a spot start, but he's not somebody I'd be pushing to have on my roster.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would kind of lean off, especially with Worthy coming back. Ricky Pearsall's gone over 100 yards 2 out of the 3 games. He's
third in the
he's
league in
really
receiving
good,
yards.
dude. Yeah, he's at the end of the day, he's a really good receiver. He showed it last year in the last 3 or 4 weeks. He averaged, I think, close to like 15, 16 fantasy points in those 3 games, close to 100 yards in all of them, and he's just continuing to do it again. He is near a lock start at this point. Same with Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is an absolute
shout out
dog,
Keenan
dude.
Allen.
Yeah, like he is Ladd McConkey last year. Like he is on pace for more targets than Ladd McConkey, more catches than Ladd McConkey, more touchdowns than Ladd McConkey, more yards than Ladd McConkey. He is an overall better fantasy asset right now than Ladd McConkey. I would start Keenan Allen over Ladd McConkey.
So is Quentin Johnston.
And then here goes the question of, would you start Ladd or Quentin Johnson? I would start Quentin Johnson over Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey, in my eyes, is their third best fantasy option.
I think Ladd McConkey is a really good buy low. If you can go out, maybe the Ladd owner is struggled up, fed up with him. I think he's a name to kind of target if you can get him for cheap. Anyone else to bring up here?
Michael Pittman did it again. He went off for a nice touchdown. He's had a touchdown in 2 of the 3 weeks. Michael Pittman. It's just the whole Colts thing, dude. Like we talked about, like Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. We were kind of sour on him. You more so than I.
You can drop Josh Downs. You can move on from Josh Downs, I think.
He was still really involved early on in that game. I would still give it another week. And I think Alec Pierce is hurt. I believe he got banged up. So if Downs can get out there a little bit more, so maybe Downs can go out there and show. He should be out there, but yeah, man, we'll see what happens.
Tight ends. Hunter Henry. He got the memo. He started the season a little late, week 3. Tight end 1.
Him and Mark Andrews both got the, hey, it's week 1, but it's week 3 memo? I thought it was week 1. What happened?
They're a little
insane
older.
What happens?
It takes their body to get going a little bit. Yeah, Mark Andrews, who were just like, drop him. We're done with him. I've been done with Mark Andrews since the beginning of during preseason. And just coming in, I was like, Mark Andrews, I'm out on that. Then he was the guy. And Zay Flowers was, we'll talk about him in Players of the Week. But Mark Andrews out here, if he's out there, teams gave up on him. And I guarantee he's out there on some waiver wires. Tight end's a hard position to come by. Maybe it's worth throwing a couple bucks at. Mark Andrews, your start of the week, TJ Hawkinson was a top 5 guy. Kudos there. He got into the end zone. How about that? A Hawk touchdown. Dalton Kincaid, Buffalo. I would love for you to throw him the ball all the time. He was a top 5 tight end, and that was still playing like 50% of the snaps and just being as utilized as he always is in terms of just being out there. Jake Ferguson, absolute dog for Dallas. 13 catches, and with CeeDee Lamb,
13 catches on 14 targets. Insane. But the week before, he's seen 12 targets and brought in 9. Dak peppers this dude with targets.
Yeah,
I was very pro Juwan Johnson over Ferguson, but I think going forward, you have to make that switch. It's got to be Ferguson, just based off the amount of targets this dude is seeing.
Yeah, Juwan
Maybe
Johnson
one day he'll get a touchdown.
Speaking of one day getting a touchdown, Trey McBride gets a touchdown, and he's not even a top 5 fantasy tight end.
Insane.
Like, you would say, it's like, hey, I'm guaranteeing a Trey McBride touchdown. You're like, cool, I got a top 3 play at tight end. No, he was 6. What a world that is. Juwan Johnson, you brought him up. He was in the top 10
he was still
9.
good.
Dallas
He's still
Goedert.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Dallas Goedert, Chigakonkwo, Brenton Strange rounded out the top 10 there. Aronde Gadsden, I want to bring him up. He was involved for the Chargers. Is he a name to watch, or probably not, just because the Chargers just too many options out there? But 7 targets against Denver, 5 for 45.
Right now it's a little crowded right now. He didn't play at all week 1 or 2, but you love to see the 7 targets in his first game suiting up. Just keep an eye on his name and his usage this week versus the Giants. And if he sees another 5-6 targets, he's worth looking at, because he's in a really good offense, arguably the best offense of football right now. So,
yeah, I agree. I would just monitor him. He's not somebody I'm going to rush to go get. All right.
No, I agree.
Before we dive into the plays of the week, WEAK, let's shout out our other affiliate over at W Energy. We want to be better with W Energy. They got good, clean energy, jitterless energy. No crash, none of that stuff. No artificial dyes, no artificial sweeteners. It's good, clean energy. Like I said, they got a ton of flavors, so you can check them out over at w.gg or download their app from your Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Just search WDUBBY. They'll be there. Ton of flavors. They collab with other content creators. They also collab with, anime, Solo Leveling, which was the anime of the year. So if that's your shtick, check them out. They also have non-caffeinated. They got a hydration line, as well as other merch, stuff like that, shaker bottles, all that good stuff. So check out Dubby. Use the code DRAFTEDUP for a nice 10% discount off your order. That's anytime you use it. First, second, 75th. It's good. The podcast could be long gone in the ground. We could be in the ground. If W Energy's still kicking, you can use the code DRAFTEDUP, and you'll still get the nice 10% discount. Where the money will go, I don't know. So be better. Eat that dub with W Energy. These guys, though, did not eat the dub. For fantasy, they likely hurt you. Jordan Love, rough go around against the Browns. Your start of the week. Jared Goff, he wasn't needed, so it wasn't a play situation. It was just the run game was so effective for Detroit.
That's how Detroit plays.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get these where Jared Goff has 5 touchdowns in week 2, and then week 3 he goes out there and doesn't do anything. He has a touchdown, which saved his day. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah, CJ Stroud continues to be bad for fantasy. If you're playing him, you gotta move on. You gotta find something.
I feel so bad for that kid. Like the offensive line that they've gave this kid and hoped it worked, it is in shambles. What is going on in Houston? Like you have a rookie, like not a rookie, but you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, and then you trade his all-pro left tackle in the offseason. Okay, that's a weird move. You don't really replace him with too much. What are we doing with the money that we're not paying our quarterback right now? Go out there and get this kid an offensive line. It doesn't make sense to me. It's a wild situation on what's going in Houston. They've completely dropped the ball on CJ Stroud. I completely blame this organization and management. It is not him. I still trust CJ Stroud talent-wise. It's in shambles, that organization.
Yeah, and you're going to have a Joe Burrow 2.0 situation on your hand, potentially. Andrew Luck 2.0. But the difference is Joe Burrow is a different type of talent and cat than CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's great.
For sure.
But he's not on Joe Burrow's level, where Joe Burrow, he makes it work. But we see now this year he's out for the year. Like that is something we could be seeing here for Stroud potentially. And Laramie Tenzel, I know they wanted to move on from him, and I've kind of just been like I get why they did it, because he didn't fit the locker room and he was causing issues, and maybe they were just trying to get ahead of the curve, that he could have been washed. He's got the 3rd ranked PFF grade in pass blocking for offensive tackles. He's 22nd overall. His run blocking, not great, but that's not, the Houston needs him to stand up and protect CJ Stroud. So it looks like that was a poor move from them. But yeah, Stroud, he's not even worth rostering in fantasy. You can move on from him.
No.
Patrick Mahomes, he had a Patrick Mahomes-esque day where he just wasn't great for fantasy. Middle of the pack, 20th overall. So if you started him, you're likely upset. But that's the ebbs and flows with Patrick Mahomes, as it's been now for 2 or so years.
See, this is what I'm worried about with Mahomes is you're gonna get these games, but week 1 and week 2 he had 60 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown in both of those games. That adds 12 points to his total. This week he had 5 carries for 2 yards. If you take away those 12 points every week, he's a run-of-the-mill quarterback in fantasy. And I kind of think we're going to start... Exactly. I think it's going to start balancing off to where Mahomes is going to start being I could start him or I could bench him for a guy with a better matchup. I don't think he's going to be getting 60 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown every week. So you have to watch out for that.
It start going back in with the vision we had during the offseason where Patrick Mahomes, you can bench him, and it is okay to do. He's not that type of fantasy quarterback anymore. My start of the week, Dak Prescott, also not a great performance out there. Losing CeeDee Lamb really hurt him, and the Bears just beat up on the Cowboys on Sunday. Anyone else running back wise or quarterback wise?
Running back wise, we just need to really quickly shout out Atlanta for a terrible passing game. Like, it's horrendous. don't want to bring it up, but if Penix keeps playing the way he did last week going forward, Kirk Cousins is going to be on that field.
They didn't cross the 30-yard line.
It's bad. It was bad. That whole game, like offense, defense, the whole situation was bad. If it happens again, maybe for another 2 weeks, I would be willing to bet Kirk Cousins hits that field.
Yeah, they asked Raheem Morris about that, and he was adamant that no, they're not making any changes.
Yeah, right now. No, I agree. It's not right now. It's not going to happen this week or next, but 2 weeks of really bad play really changes your outset or your mindset on who's suiting up next week.
Yeah. Running backs. I'm not going to call Derrick Henry a play of the week. He wasn't great, but we're looking at 3 straight games now where he's fumbled the ball. He's got 3 fumbles in like 45 carries. Where he had 3 fumbles in like 600. Yeah. Him slamming
into his frustrated.
Helmet.
Yeah. It's not a pretty sight. I do not want to see that guy angry, man, but he's going to figure it out. I'm not like worried or anything, but it's definitely a bit of a problem. You got to learn to tighten up that grip. Something's going on.
Yeah, the Henry with that, it was tough to watch. Like I felt for like absolute superstar, future Hall of Famer, but like
him slamming the helmet was it was so hard to watch because he slipped and like fell over the bench. Mm-hmm. It was hard to watch. Like I'm like, oh man, don't do that. Hold in your anger. Hold it for the locker room.
Who would have thought that would be the clip?
He's never had to deal with this.
Henry is fumbling in big time situations. Fumbling? Yeah. But yeah, I'm not putting him.
We have to look at it from like a perspective. I was gonna he's never dealt with this. You've played running back for 15, 16 years, and now all of a sudden you just fumble in 3 huge moments. Hopefully he's able to fix it because that can mess with a man's head for sure.
Yeah. I'm not overly worried, but if somebody would send me an offer for Derrick Henry and it was good, I would consider it. Like if Josh Jacobs, I would probably trade Derrick Henry for Josh Jacobs, who had a down week, but we expected that against a tough Cleveland team, and he was coming in banged up. Mm-hmm. So only it was
still an RB2 though. Like he was still he was he outside? Oh, Sleeper has him at 20.
Oh, I'm in standard scoring. Sorry. So he had catches. I don't know why
you're good.
Yes, he was. My computer reverted to standard over PPR, but got
all that standard football.
Yeah,
love it.
Breece Hall, tough go around for the Jets. Like he was fine, but he's kind of fluctuating into that range where we expected Breece Hall, where he's not going to be a reliable option every week. Nick Chubb, tough go rounds. Like I'd be trying to move on from Nick Chubb. Like Woody Marks played almost as much percentage wise as Nick Chubb did on Sunday. So Woody Marks should be rostered in your league. If he's out there, go get him, because Nick Chubb, I think we're going to start phasing towards this being Woody Marks' backfield, especially if the Texans aren't winning football games.
Yeah, and I think Woody Marks adds more to that passing game. Like he's more explosive, he's quicker, he's twitchier. He can have big, long plays where I don't think Nick Chubb can have a 30, 40, 50-yard run. That's not Nick Chubb. That's not the kind of running back he's ever been. To where Woody Marks brings so much more to that offense, and you've seen it in his snaps. His snaps have gone up each week. I expect that to happen again in week 4. So Woody Marks is a guy that should definitely be on teams at this point. He was on the looking glass last week, and then this week I would say he should be rostered.
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard, another guy that dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Barkley, like there are a lot of big name running backs. This is really didn't hit this week.
Yeah. Ashton Jeanty, how do you feel about him?
Oh man, I would try to dip him if I had him for sure, just to see what I can get on name wise. But like him and Chase Brown, I have in the same bucket of like, yeah, I'm worried about them, and they're like low end RB2 kind of guys, maybe even flex guys if you got like Javonte or Travis Etienne late in your drafts, and I would start both of those guys over these two guys. So I'm a little worried about Genty and Chase Brown.
Yeah. Genty or Chase Brown rest of season?
Give me Chase Brown going rest of the season. I think. I still think I'm really in on Chase Brown. I think.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Man,
I still wouldn't move on from Chase Brown, but similar situations, they've just been really ineffective for you for fantasy early on. Isaiah Pacheco, you moving on from him?
I would still hold him on my team, but he cannot start Pacheco in any league. Because if you cut Pacheco, someone's going to pick him up. He's going to be on a roster. So I'm still willing to hold him for another at least 2 weeks.
Yeah. Are we starting to see this being Travion Henderson's backfield now? Like Ramondre fumbled a bunch against
twice.
The Steelers. So did Antonio Gibson. So Are we next week going to be the week that we see Travion Henderson take over as the Steeler or as the Patriots running back?
I mean, man, you would love to see it. He was, I believe, their leading rusher, right? He had more carries than Ramondre and Gibson, I believe.
Yeah, he had 11 carries. The other two had 6 each, but he was their third leading rusher, though.
But he was super inefficient. Yeah, he averaged 2.5 a carry, so he had 28 yards. I still think it's going to be pretty split with Ramondre. I don't think Gibson's going to be out there a bunch.
Would you go out to try to acquire him? Travion Henderson owners are probably a little fed up with him.
I mean, yeah, sure. If you can go out there and get Travion Henderson, Genty, Chase Brown, these guys, Ladd McConkey, we talked about him in the receivers. If you can go out and get these guys that were drafted in the first, second, third round, really high draft capital, and you can get them cheap, I'm still willing to pull the trigger on most of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Bashal Tutin, he's been more and more involved. Travis Etienne now fell. He was outside the top 20 for the first time this year. I would go out there and get Tutin. I think we're going to start seeing that gap close as well. He got into the end zone. Yeah,
and that saved him, but he only had 6 carries for 21 yards, so he didn't see the ball as much as he did in week 2, and he was out there for only 17% of snaps compared to 25 in week 2. So it was a big downgrade in my eyes from week 2 to 3, but he should still be on teams, but I still trust Etienne way more than I trust Tutin.
Last name, I think we're going to talk about Alvin Kamara. You just writing it off to the fact that the Seahawks just blew them out of the water for his poor performance, or are you worried that this is going to kind of be the situation here with Alvin Kamara, considering the Saints just aren't great and he's getting older and he's never been one who's been overly efficient as a runner?
Yeah, I'm not particularly thrilled, but Kendre Miller did see a season high in attempts. He had 7 attempts for 27 yards, 2 catches. He had a bunch of kick return yards. He had 182 kick return yards, so that's a bunch of points. So not that he was involved a bunch in the rushing game, but he's out there more, which does hurt Kamara, but I'm still cool with Kamara as an RB2.
Yeah. Wide receivers. I don't think there's anyone else over at running back. We'll talk about the rookie sensations last year, Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr. Still giving you rough goes here. Brian Thomas, another poor performance. Him and Trevor Lawrence just can't get on the same page. Marvin Harrison dropped, I feel 6 passes on Sunday. One was a touchdown, and one should have been a touchdown. He was wide open.
If I had to guess, the amount of yards that Marv took away from Kyler Murray on Sunday was probably 250 yards. No, it was honestly probably 150 yards though. Marv should have had a mondo game. He just couldn't bring in these balls, dude. And I don't know, man. I'm really concerned about Marv. I'm kind of concerned about BTJ. I don't know. I just got the ick. Big time.
Brian Thomas Jr. has 25 targets on the year and only 7 catches.
And that's more than I was going to say. I was going to say 5. 7 catches on 25 targets is diabolical. That is disgusting, dude.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
I don't know what's going on with him and Trevor Lawrence. It's just they're not clicking. Tedero McMillan, tough go this week, but it wasn't needed. Carolina just mollywopped up on the Falcons, but he had an incredible catch. I don't know if you saw his catch where he just high pointed the ball,
Yeah.
like impossible to cover him. He's looked great. Down week for fantasy this week, but the future's bright for Teteroa McMillan
Yeah.
out there in Carolina.
I'm also not I'm not worried about it at all. It was a weird game. They blew Atlanta out of the water. He was out there for a season high percent of snaps. He was out there for 90% of snaps. He still saw 8 targets, so he saw a bunch of targets. You love that amount. He just didn't bring any. He brought in 3 for 49, that's still a decent game, but you want a little bit more, especially in a blowout. But these games are going to happen for rookies. It's all right.
Yeah. Jameson Williams, he scored all of his points on what felt like the first drive of the game, and then nothing after that.
Yeah.
So tough go there for him. Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Keon Coleman, Deebo Samuel, not their best performance, especially Deebo, who's been great here the first 2 weeks of the year, coming out having a dud when, Marcus Mariota looked great for this offense. He hit McLaren on a deep pass, but Luke McCaffrey seemed to be his guy on Sunday.
Yeah, I would assume that's a practice thing. He just has better timing with McCaffrey, so he was out there a little bit more than he usually is. And Deebo, something was up. He was only out there for 43% of snaps, where the last 2 weeks have been 88 and 77. He only saw 3 targets compared to the 8 and 9. I'm willing to say something was going on because his snaps were 30% less. His targets were 6 less targets than any other game this season. I don't know if that's because they quote for quote blew out Las Vegas. It wasn't really close being the Commanders Raiders game. So maybe they just sat Deebo in the back end of the game, but
it's possible.
His stat line was not the same as it was the others, percentage wise. So I would say something was going on. Jamar Chase shit the bed too.
Yep, Jamar Chase. I was going to bring up both. T. Higgins, not great. But the Bengals, that game got out of hand really quick with the 2 defensive touchdowns from Isaiah Rodgers for Minnesota, and it just downward spiral going forward. Like Jake Browning was just getting pressured left and right. Like Andrew Van Ginkel only played 8 snaps, and he had 2 sacks and 4 quarterback pressures on 8 snaps. He was just revolving door there at Cincinnati's offensive line. Zay Flowers, tough game on Monday. We brought him up briefly with Mark Andrews, big performance. Zay Flowers took the back seat there. Both Giants receivers, Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, tough go rounds for them. Travis Hunter, this was the first time we saw him play more defensive snaps than offensive snaps. So he's a situation where he's tough to play because you never know what kind of utilization you're going to get. Troy Franklin was out there a ton for Denver again, back-to-back weeks. You love to see that, over 80%. Didn't do much in the fantasy department though for you if you had to play him.
Nah, Bo Nix missed Marvin Mims on 2 deep balls. One should have been a touchdown. The other one was just obviously oversoaring. The one was really close though. So these deep targets are going all over the place in Denver. So it's not going to consistently go to Troy Franklin. So just watch out for everyone else's name to start getting involved. Marvin Mims, Pat Bryant.
Mims is doing Mims things. He's only out there for 50 to 60% of snaps now, 3 weeks running. So it looks like he is the 3rd option, but they are trying to hit him deep. But Franklin is out there a ton. Anyone else?
It's just a name to kind of watch for deeper leagues. But Parker Washington, Jacksonville's receiver, with Travis Hunter the last 2 weeks, kind of switching more to defense, especially this week. But last week, Parker Washington went 5 targets, 5 receptions for 76. This week wasn't a great stat line. It was only 4 for 30, but he saw 11 targets. Trevor Lawrence was really getting this guy the ball more so than Brian Thomas has been. So he's just a name to watch for deeper leagues if you need a guy to stash. But if Travis Hunter is going to be playing defense, this guy's the number 2 receiver on that team.
Travis Hunter, he's the one to watch, see how his snap utilization is going forward, because if he is playing more defense, Parker Washington does step up as to the number 2 option there, and they need somebody because they're not getting the ball to Brian Thomas Jr., and Brenton Strange is the other name to watch out for at tight end. He had a nice little week just inside the top 10 there. Tight ends, Tucker Kraft, after his big week, outside the top 24. Tyler Warren was outside the top 24. So was Zach Ertz. Sam
Kraft's
Laporta.
Weird. Tucker Kraft's hurt. He was severely
who
injured in
knows how much of
practice,
this was injury related. Yep.
yeah, and he could have just been a
Sam
decoy out
Laporta, by
there.
start of the week, he was outside the top 24. Harold Fannin, not the best week for him, but he's still out there, still getting targets. So he's still worth rostering. Njoku falling outside the top 15 still. Like, are you moving on from Njoku? Like, is he playable? Or is it a case where him and Fanning are just like canceling each other out at this point?
I would say Njoku's the hardest tight end to move on from this point, but he hasn't broke double digits once. Season high in catches is 5. Season high in yards is 40. That's not really cutting it, man. Like, he's got a good stretch of games coming up for tight ends, but Fanning's eating way too many of his targets to be any type of fantasy relevant. So they kind of just cancel each other out.
Yeah, 7 targets.
I think both guys should be on teams though. Just because of the talent level. If one of them gets hurt, you're getting a tight end that starts every single week on your team.
And with Fannin, he becomes probably the better floor out of the two because he gets so much manufactured just junk, dink offs.
Yeah.
Whereas Njoku's ceiling, no matter what, is still higher than Fannin's, but he does have a little volatility there with how they're being utilized in Cleveland. Travis Kelce, are you worried about this guy? It hasn't been the best start here. That was kind of the case last year. And we're getting weapons back now in Kansas City. 26 yards this past week against the Giants, 61 the week before, 47 the week before that with the touchdown. He's only got that one touchdown on the year. Are you comfortable dropping him?
No. Just because of the same reason with like Njoku and Fanning. They should be on teams. Kelce should be on a team just because of what he can do. And sure, it was a down week, but the 2 weeks before that, he was tight end 8, and I know the touchdown saved him. The weekend after that, he was tight end 10. So the 4 for 60 week 2, it's tolerable. Yeah, you want more yards than 26 like he had this week, but he still saw 7 targets, which was a season high. Brought in 4 for 26, so it's nothing great. But you just roll with Kelce. It is what it is. If you can upgrade tight end, sure, go for it. But I don't think streaming a tight end is an upgrade over Travis Kelce.
Yeah, Sam Laporta or Travis Kelce rest of season?
Give me Laporta, I think.
Okay. Tyler Warren, we're not really worried about his performance. He was banged up. He missed some practice this week, so he was due for a down game. You're not really concerned about. Same with Zach Ertz. He just needs volume, and he just happened to not get into the end zone this past week. But he's still probably the best spot start tight end. Like, he just didn't get the volume this week. He only had 3 targets, where the week before he had 8. The week before that he had 5.
But hey, he brought in all 3, so you love to see that.
Anyone else on tight end?
Kyle Pitts. He's been pretty average the last 2 weeks.
Kyle Pitts just living in the range of average. I would take Kyle Pitts over Travis Kelce. 6 targets, 5 targets, 8 targets, 7 for 59, 4 for 37, 4 for 39. That's considered down from that week 1 performance where he was heavily involved. But we'll see how it is this week against Washington. The Carolina game, I just kind of want to wipe it from existence for Atlanta in general. From him, Drake London, like Michael Penix needs to be better. And if Kirk Cousins does happen to end up getting in here, him and Pitts had a great rapport. Pitts was a top 5 tight end when Cousins was in last year until, Cousins wasn't able to move.
Yeah, and then even Pitts was banged up last year. He wasn't moving right. I would still take Kelce over Pitts long season, but I'm not moving on from Kyle Pitts yet. But the last 2 weeks are definitely big downgrades after week 1.
Yeah. All right. I think that does it. Oh, Thursday night preview. I forgot.
Yep.
I was just going to send us on our way.
We're back to TJ forgetting the good old Thursday night football game.
Just forgetting Thursday night football exists.
Jeff Bezos would be
Thursday
so disappointed in you.
The Seahawks travel to Arizona to take on their division rival, the Arizona Cardinals. We're looking at a over under of 43.5 with the Seahawks favored. I don't have an odds in front of me. It just has minus Seattle on the money line. Seattle is 1.5 point road favorites. Obviously, you're going to start Jackson Smith and Jigba. He is a locked start, ready to load. Doesn't matter who they're playing or what the scenario is. He's in your lineup. I'm not messing around with Cooper Kupp, not messing around with Torrey Horton. Kenneth Walker, put him in. He was a top 12 running back this past week, and I don't know if Charbonnet is going to be out there on a short week, maybe, but
yeah, and even if
really
Charbonnet
good.
he's not playing 100%, and so Ken Walker's going to be, he's so explosive. I would easily put him in because of Charbonnet's injury. If Charbonnet was a full go, I would be a little bit different, but with Charbonnet being banged up, Ken Walker for sure put him in.
Yeah, Walker benefited from 2 touchdowns because he only averaged 2 yards a carry against Seattle, 16 for 38, but
super inefficient.
Yeah, but he found the end zone, which you'll take for fantasy, so you kind of just forget that he wasn't great in real life. But you're going to keep him in your lineup. That's it from Seattle. It's really just Ken Walker and Jackson Smith and Jigba for me. Nobody else.
Yeah, I would agree to that statement for sure.
Arizona, Trey Benson, put him in. He's the new running back.
Yep.
RB1 in Arizona. I don't like Kyler Murray. He gives me the ick. I wouldn't play him, but I understand if you have to. I'd probably have him right outside the QB1 range in that 13 to 17 range. But chances are he's your quarterback. I would try to find, like if Brock Purdy was out there, that's the problem. It's a Thursday game. But if Brock Purdy was out there on your market and you got word he's playing, I would rather play Brock Purdy over Kyler Murray just because Seattle's defense, I think, is just going to kind of shut him down. Like, really, for me, it's Trey Benson, it's Trey McBride. And I don't want to start Marvin Harrison or Kyler Murray, but I kind of understand you have to because it's probably tough to pivot away from either one of those guys based off how you drafted.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Like, if you have an option that's good enough, I would pivot out of both of those guys 100%. I don't think they're locked and loaded kind of guys this season. I got a couple guys there. Would you go Michael Pittman or Marv?
Who the Colts got this week?
The Rams. Tough matchup.
Tough matchup, but A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith did beat up on them. So if it does get into a shootout, I do think I like that for Michael Pittman. So, yeah, I would play Michael Pittman over Marv.
I would go Michael Pittman for sure. Jacoby Myers. They're playing Chicago.
Give me Myers. I think I would lean Myers.
Agree. Yep. Ricky Pearsall. That one's pretty easy, right? Pearsall over Marv.
Yeah. I would start Pearsall over Marv. He's third in the league in passing yards. Who knows what Juwan Jennings' health is, and if Brock Purdy's back there, it gives him a better quarterback option. But Mac Jones is a fine compliment if that's what it is. But yeah, I would play Pearsall over Marv as well.
Quentin Johnson.
Jordan Addison. Is that who you said?
Quentin Johnston.
No, I would play Marv. I would play Marv.
Over Quentin Johnson?
They're like the same to me. They're both touchdown dependent.
Yeah, and who's been way more consistent this year?
I think I would play Marv in the sense that it's just him, well, McBride, but like there's going to be a week where Quentin Johnston isn't involved and it's Keenan Allen.
Oh, for sure.
So
yes,
I would lean Marv, but that is way closer than I want it to be. That makes me really uncomfortable.
That's kind of where I wanted to get it. That's where Marv is at this point. He's not a locked in kind of guy. He shouldn't be, but there are way more options out there. If you can pivot out of Marv, I'm pivoting out of Marv.
Especially on a Thursday. Like I don't like playing guys that give me the ick first thing in the week
on a Thursday. And, for sure.
And that's kind of where I am with Marv and Kyler Murray right now. Who comes out on top here Thursday? I'm going Seattle.
Oh man, it would be very anti of the pod if I would go Seattle because I've been Cardinals over Seattle all season. But you gotta kind of stay fluent. But I'm gonna go Arizona. Let's just get competitive on this one. I'll go Arizona. You go Seattle. We'll see what
Okay.
happens. It's
All
one
right,
of these
there we
teams
go.
gonna be 3-1
Now the
though.
pot.
That's 3-1 for one of these teams. That's quite the record for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, now the podcast is over.
Now we can wrap it
We're
up.
done. Yep. The big one. We'll catch you guys back here on Thursday where we'll go through the rest of the games. Won't forget about those ones. We got a London game this week, so keep your eye out on that. Vikings, Steelers, nice 9:30.
Bright and early here on the East
Coast game. That's Nick. I'm Theo. This is the Drafted Up podcast. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Like, rate, subscribe, review.
Yeah.
Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You know where to find us. Adios.
Bye, y'all.